it's Georgie the Goblin, and welcome to the official Family of Gamers podcast, the podcast where Andrew and Coach talk all things war games, board games, and much, much more. And here are your hosts, Andrew and Coach.
FOG Andrew here, and the Coach here, and Ryan here, and we cannot forget Phages here as well from the Family of Gamers. Welcome, War Gamers, to an exciting, awesome podcast. So, this is officially episode 3 of the FOG podcast, and I'm very excited because we have the four of us knuckleheads back for this episode. If you guys want to say hi.
Hello, day 6.
Day 6, what's up?
I guess Coach doesn't want to talk.
No, it's my computer's not working. But yes, I'm here.
Nah. Anyway, so we're back. This is the podcast where we talk all things miniature gaming, miniature wargaming, tabletop games, board games, all that stuff. And in this episode, I thought it'd be good to talk about Adepticon, because our last episode 2, was kind of the stuff we're looking forward to for Adepticon. And then now we can kind of talk about our post-Adepticon stuff. And we ended up buying a good amount of games, so I figured we can kind of go through those. I also wanted to talk about like a couple of things, because we talked episode 2 about like what we were kind of excited to see possibly, and one of the things that we mentioned was that about Mantic, right? That I was like, like Worms, seeing maybe Epic Warpath and Halo and stuff like that. They only had Halo, so for demos, I mean, they had Armada set up, but then they kind of, Ronnie took that down to put up another Halo demo. Are you guys disappointed we were not able to demo Epic Warpath?
For me, honestly, I didn't care one bit about Warpath, but I was somewhat disappointed that they didn't have Worms there, because I know you backed it. I know you're a big fan, and I loved the video game, and I was more than happy to try it out. But somebody brain farted and apparently didn't bring a demo copy, so that made no sense to me that they would not have that there.
I feel like the main thing was the Halo, so that's what they were kind of focusing on. But I am disappointed no Worms.
I think Worms was it was a mistake that they didn't, it was an accident. It was supposed to be there and it was supposed to be demoed, so we're not really holding that against them.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm still sad. That's probably my most hyped game of the year, I would say.
But we did take a picture of you in front of the Worms billboard that was kind of behind everything.
Yeah, the banner they had. Yeah, that was. Listen, if they don't want that when they're done with it, they should definitely let me know, because I will happily take it off their hands. But that being said,
I don't know if they want to give you the Halo.
I don't know. He got cut off there. I didn't hear what he said.
Because Halo's on the other side. I don't know if they're going to give you the whole banner.
They could cut it down the sides.
Yeah.
Just give them one half.
Exactly. Screw them. It's fine. I want it. Anyway. All right. But, yeah, I mean, other than that, I know we mentioned this in the vlog, but probably our best or favorite Adepticon. Would you guys agree?
100%. It was the best the best time I've had since we've been going.
Yeah, definitely. This was the best out of all of them.
Yeah, I've only been to, this is my second Adepticon, and I think just, you guys kind of got the picture based on the hall. It just outdid the first one. Not that the first one was bad. And not to mention this one was absolutely packed.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably the best Adepticon for me, and most successful, because we came home with about 6 games, which we're going to be kind of talking about right now. Speaking of which, I figured we'd start off with something that Coach was pretty excited for. I was excited too for it, but Clash of Steel. Clash of Steel.
The Clash of Steel, which I'm actually putting together a tank right now.
What?
Yeah, I'd be like that.
That's crazy. He's multitasking here.
Yep.
So, yeah, the swag bag had one of the 2 starter sets. So you either got German and British or American versus Soviets. Me and Coach did the demo. Coach, if you want to kind of maybe quickly talk about what you thought of it.
Well, we tried Flames of War, and we liked Flames of War, but it was a little crunchy, and there were some things that were a little. I'm not going to say the game Flames of War was bad, but like as a beginning player, it was a little daunting just for the fact that we really didn't know how to play, and we were saying the 2 of us really wanted to play Flames of War with only tanks, and in the Flames of War you have aircraft, you have artillery, and you have troops. And those are the 3 things that we were having a hard time with. Then we go demo Clash of Steel, and it's only tanks, no artillery. I mean, some units are considered artillery, but not shooting artillery over. We did the demo. It's exactly what we were looking for. I really wish they would have had this when we were looking into doing something Flames of War with just tanks. But yeah, we did the demo, and then we ended up acquiring the other set, which was the American Soviets, and now we have all the 2 starter sets. We did an unboxing, and we're just getting ready to play. So I really like the game a lot. I'm glad we went and did the demo so that we can get a little clarity on it, and just looking forward to rolling tanks onto the table.
Now, Fabian, you did get you got the swag bag, so you got a Clash of Steel box. So you interested at all for doing Clash of Steel?
I knew nothing about the game. I only knew what you guys had said literally prior to us getting the swag bag and seeing people posting that they had gotten that game. And Coach was talking about how it was something he was looking forward to. And it's like, well, it looks like we're getting it. So, and then listening to him and yourself, Andrew, talking about how hyped you are for it, I was like, I'll totally play a tank game. I don't want to deal with the infantry and all the other stuff. So let's go for it. Let's go to war.
Yeah, by the time this episode of the podcast is out, the unboxing for Clash of Steel will be out on our YouTube channel. Linktree in the description, by the way. You guys can check that out. We unboxed both boxes on there, and I gotta say, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Like, you get your dice and everything, you get all the tokens, there's 2 sets of tokens in there, which I thought was nuts. I thought, okay, that's pretty good. And then there's like the mission cards and all the different cards and everything. And then you get like 4 books in there. You get the rule book, a quick start book, and then 1 book for each faction. It's like there's 4 books in those in the one box. I think it's great. They went all out.
They really went to the point where it's like this is a true starter box, where there's enough tanks for each side, but like you can get what I like is the faction books have all your information on it that you could use for the for your faction that you're running, and then on the back is the kind of the cheat sheet reference table that you could just use that to play the game. So they really thought this through. It was very well thought out. I was looking forward to the game, but I was very, very, very happy and excited to see what they did in the starter.
Yeah, I have to agree. For something that I knew nothing about, that prior to getting it had no interest in, it's the kind of thing that I got and I could totally see myself playing because everything I need is there. I don't have to think about buying anything else. I can just use what I have. And if we need more, I'm sure Coach has other things printed, or I could borrow some of theirs and we could just play a bigger tank game. So it was a great thing to get for free specifically, but even at its regular price point at 75, that doesn't seem too bad for all the stuff that's in there.
That was something I didn't even think. I thought it would be more. I thought it would be priced like at 100, but 75 is even better.
No, it's way too good of a bargain. It really is. And what's nice too is, not to spoil the unboxing, but there's a bunch of cards in there for late war tanks that we already have, because it's supposed to be after World War II, 4 years after World War II. So those tanks would probably still be in effect. Um, like I was saying, the German Pumas, which are my favorite tank that the Germans run, other than the Tigers, and you could actually use them in this game. So that's you're using some old stuff and some new stuff. It's a good transition. I think this is a good this is actually a very good thing to transition into Flames of War. I think they did a really good job.
Which is a question I have for you, Coach, since I know you have built some Flames of War and had boxes of Flames of War. Are these sprues essentially just sprues that were used from Flames of War that they just repackaged for this?
Well, no, there's some, because what happens is this is after World War II, so you figure certain things were in production, ready to go to the front line, and then the war ended. So it's kind of like some stuff, there's some tanks left over, but there's some new tanks in here, like the Mouse and stuff like that. There's some big tanks in here, things that like the Soviets, you could still use the T-30, T-31, T-34, but with the bigger gun, because the lower gun they stopped using it and they got a bigger gun for it. So, that yeah, it's well done, well done. There's some new tanks in here and some old ones. There's some Tigers in here too.
Yeah, that's what I figured, that maybe some of them were just models that they'd already been printing out. So it's just a matter of putting some of those in there and then some newer ones in there. And that might be why the cost for the starter overall is as low as it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were looking at when we were unboxing, some of the sprues said like copyright 2015. So I think these are just old casts and models that they just threw in here, but made it a whole new game because they don't really need to make new tanks. Yeah, I mean it's an alternate future, I guess, or past, but it's the same friggin' tanks. It's just the same stuff, just a whole new game.
Well, there are a few there are a few new tanks in here, so but yeah, more tanks, more better, more painting. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I am excited though. I mean, like I said before, we demoed it. It was really good. Very, I feel like it's a streamlined version of Flames of War. But that being said, the infantry and the like weird like force org tree that you had to follow when making a list was very weird and clunky. I didn't really like it, but that doesn't seem to be in Clash of Steel. But and now Ryan, are you at all interested for doing Clash of Steel, because I know you are the history buff.
Not really. I'm not really a World War II buff. So I'm not really like drawn to the game. I didn't demo it. I said it to you guys at Adepticon. It's gonna be one of those things you're just gonna have to like. I come over and it's got to be like out, and it's like, all right, here's your list. We're playing. I don't think I'm gonna seek it out. So, and that's no disrespect to the game. Just I bought a lot of stuff. Just I don't really have the interest to add a seventh. Or for me it'd be less, but we'll get into that. But add another game to the fold.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, I think one day we'll just set up Clash of Steel, Coach, and then have two games going, and the four of us will play, and just go at it.
Or one big game.
Yeah, or like a team game or something like that. I think would be cool.
Yeah, definitely, it would work for this. It could the transition could be really good.
Yeah. Speaking of possible team games, next game I want to touch on a little bit is Kings of War. which I think was a surprise, but not really to some people. I ended up picking up Kings of War. I picked up the Goblin Ambush starter set, and they had a deal at Adepticon where if you bought an ambush set, you also get a free full Kings of War rule book. And then I also picked up the big rock thrower and a Maw Beast pack for Kings of War. So definitely kind of excited to do it because I read the entirety of the ambush book that was in the starter box on the plane, and yeah, it's really not difficult at all. It's a very simple game. I think the main thing that's like the not difficult thing, but like the more thing that has the most rules is the movement, because you have like the big squares of dudes, and then you can charge in, but then have a second unit charge in, or even have like 2 units and a third just single guy just charging in and hitting another unit. So I think that's like the one thing we'll have to get used to. But like the shooting and the fighting, and it's all simple, same stuff we're basically used to with playing a game.
That technically this is called rank and flank.
Rank and flank game, which
yes,
is
what it's called.
Yeah, which is definitely what it is from reading the rules. That's exactly what it is. I'm excited. Coach, I know you've been had wanting to play Kings of War for a bit. You have what, dwarves and ogres like already from
I have dwarves
years ago.
Yeah, a whole dwarf and I have a dwarf and a ogre mega army that I ordered a long time ago. The dwarves are together, unpainted, and the ogres are still in the box because there was really no one to play, and I wanted to focus on the games that we were playing. So a game that's, I just had it. I just didn't want to get rid of it. But also, if we're gonna, because we're probably gonna start ambush level, with the vault, there are enough things, and I got some stuff out of Adepticon that I can run the Night Stalker ambush squad. I have enough stuff to do that. So right off the bat, I have 3 ambushes and 2 full armies. So we can do that. And I know you're starting with ambush, but if we build up, and the nice thing about Mantic is it's not going to cost you a kidney to build up that force.
Now, Phasia, you ended up getting Abyssal Dwarf ambush starter.
Correct.
And what's the deal with that? You gonna maybe try to play Abyssal Dwarves?
I already have a dwarf army and an undead army. Well, some of them. I don't have everything in the armies, but enough to play a game. And I was just like, well, if we're doing this, let's get an ambush. And the only other one that really appealed to me were the Abyssal Dwarfs. So that's what I went with. And it's something we've basically tiptoed around doing since the second edition Kickstarter. So we maybe demoed it and played it a couple of times only, and that was it. We just kept playing Dead Zone or other games. So, but yeah, we're trying to open up to do different games. So why not add Kings of War to the list since we already have so much?
Yeah, and I wanted to demo it. Unfortunately, I was not able to. They didn't have a demo set up, and it was just a crazy weekend, so we weren't able to get a game in or anything. So I just said, yeah, screw it. I'll just buy some goblins, some of my goblin ambush starter.
I think we just start with the ambush and go from there. Get used to that, and then start building it up slow.
From what I can tell, the ambush is just smaller point value and different missions. Everything else seems like it's exactly the same. It's just
are there ambush missions in the ambush, like, because you got the ambush starter and it came with a little rule book?
Well, that's what I just said.
I'm just asking because if there are specific missions for, like, say, skirmish, a small game that works out pretty good.
Well, that's what I said. Like the only thing that seems like that's different from Ambush and regular Kings of War are the point values and the missions. So instead of doing 2,000 points, you're doing like 500, and it's a different mission that works on a smaller table with a smaller point value. That's what it seems like to me. Everything else seems pretty much exactly the same. Move, shoot, fight, all that stuff is exactly the same. Now, Ryan, question for you. Are you at all interested for doing Kings of War? Because I know you demoed it last year at Adepticon. I don't know if you're possibly interested in maybe doing some Kings of War with us.
Yeah, I'm not to be the hater. I don't have interest in doing it. I think again, like I just have like a lot of games in the hopper that I need to get to, and I just don't think it's high on my bucket list. I think my whole thing going in this year was like diversity and stuff like that. So we picked up other games that probably will satisfy what Kings of War would otherwise provide, and that's like no shot at Kings of War. I just wanted to try new things, to be honest. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but you know, again, I had to get my goblins, had to get the goblins in there.
I think we just set it up and tell them to show up, and then there's an army on there, and they'll start playing with us. Kind of like Clash of Steel.
I mean, do you mean Clash of Steel or Clash of Steel? That's got to be like a Man of War song, right? Clash of Steel.
There's got to be at least something, or those words are definitely in the song somewhere.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, I wanna touch on this next game, which all four of the next couple games, all four of us are kind of in the same boat on. But I want to start off with talking about Drop Zone Commander here. Ryan, if you want to kind of start us off here, what's the deal with Drop Zone? What did you because you and Coach demoed it? I watched. Fabian did not demo it, but Ryan, what are your thoughts from doing the demo?
yeah. So it originally came from Fabian mentioning it in the group chat. I think Fabian Coach were talking about it, and I was like, it was just like an open minded thing. We went to TT Combat, their booth, just to look at the factions. I was reading up on the lore a bit. I think I was like, if I like this game, I'm gonna get the Shaltari. I just thought the lore was cool and everything. The models were cool, and I was just like, okay, I like.
Overpowered.
Well, we didn't know that at the time. Well, okay, first of all, I didn't know that at the time. I just read the lore and I liked the models. So let's hold that there. We demoed the game, and I think we were a little like not iffy at first, but I think took a little bit, and then it was like okay. Once we got going, it was like okay. It's literally like as the title implies, it is drop zone commander. You're going in with drop ships, you're dropping them down, you're going after the objective, and then you're getting the heck out of there. So I think when we saw that and the mechanics actually played out, I think it was, I thought it was really cool. I like how you could shoot at buildings. I like how each army is bringing something, different to the table. And I just think like the dropship mechanic of it was neat. Like, what game really, does that where it's like everyone's starting on a dropship and there are certain like limitations of what you can bring, what you can shoot at. Because think about it, like an anti-aircraft, unit that gets dropped in, it can't shoot at certain things, or something that isn't anti-aircraft. I'm sorry, can't shoot at like a cruiser coming over, which makes sense. They don't have the missiles or the weapons. It's not really set up for that. So I liked it, Coach. I guess I'll pass it to you because I played you. On what you thought about it.
So us playing it. So this goes back to. I'm glad this happened. So we started. I went to see. They don't. TT Combat didn't have anything set up as far as a demo. They would just. I don't even think it was TT Combat. It was like Gopher Games, and they're the store that sells the stuff. So I was like, we want to get into this game, but I'm not buying a game unless we demo it. I'm sorry, just the coolest game and the coolest looking game with rules that suck stay on the shelf. It's just the way it is. So I wanted to make sure that we liked the game. So we went over to the dude who was running the tournament, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have anything." We'll come back. So we came back. Guy started demoing it. Ryan, I don't know if you got. I mean, it seemed like he was not into giving us the demo, but once we started rolling and stuff, and they kind of weren't prepared for us. But once I think when me and you looked at the stat sheet, we knew what we were doing, and we were able to do stuff. It's like, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? Being veteran war gamers also helped out a little bit too. Then we figured it out, and then by the final round, that we were playing, it worked out. And what I liked about it was it's one of those games where, like, I was getting decimated, and at the last second I pulled off a cool move and flew off the board with the objective, and I ended up winning. So it doesn't have to be, it's not basically kill the enemy and all this stuff. There are different objectives to it. And like Ryan wiped out my whole force except for a group of troops that got into an APC that got into the dropship, and then it bugged out, and I ended up winning. So we were playing, and the mechanics were pretty cool. And then it was good because when we went to buy stuff, we wanted to know what should I do with this, and there was a few guys there who knew what they were talking about. So yeah, I'm interested. I like the aesthetic. So we got each one of us got a faction, but I think also the important thing, which I think was a very important purchase that we all got, was the building set and the mat that we could play on. We could play it on, and it's the right scale. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, man. What do you guys think?
Wait, before we pass it off, I just wanted to say I think one of the unique things about the demo was, yeah, I think he was a little iffy at first to give it, but I think he saw, immediately that we picked up on it, and it was just like we just started playing. I think this is the first demo where, well, actually, it probably we'll save this for later, but at the time it was the first demo where the guy was like, we just played the whole game. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a turn or two. You know what I mean? We played a full game of Drop Zone Commander, and I think that just kind of reaffirmed. I'm like, okay, I'm getting this. So yeah, sorry, opening up to whoever else wants.
Yeah, I agree. If we would have stopped it like after the first round, it wouldn't have been enough.
That may be the issue that we had with it the first time we demoed it when it was Hawk War Games, because we played it. I don't think we did a full game. We probably did a turn, and it just was kind of like, all right, whatever. But I didn't demo it, but the three of you came over and were saying how good it was. So I was just like, all right, you don't need to tell me more. I'm buying in. So
Well, that's not exactly what happened. You were playing in the tournament, and we all took a picture of all the stuff we were holding up, and then you were like, damn it, why can't I go buy stuff?
Right. But I mean, other things that had been, well, I'd like to demo it. But since the three of you were all pretty much a unanimous, yes, let's play this, I was like, all right, I'll need to demo it. If you guys say it's that much fun, and I've loved the look of it for years now. And like Ryan was saying, I just broached the subject in the group chat like a week before, saying, hey, I was looking at Drop Zone Commander. Maybe we give it a look again. And Coach, you happened to be saying that you had been reading the rule book not too long before I said that. So it was like, oh, we're on the same wavelength. Let's try it.
I started reading the rule book 2 days before you mentioned it.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, we were a mind link there in terms of something interesting we'd like to try. So that kind of further was like, yeah, let's do this. So I had no problem spending the money to pick up a faction. So
Yeah, I didn't physically demo it, but I was watching you guys play it, and I was like, this is actually really cool. Now, it seems like it's kind of the opposite of how we feel with Flames of War, because Flames of War and Drop Zone Commander, similar scale. You got the tiny ships, and you got the tiny, little infantry dudes and whatnot. Flames of War, infantry's annoying to play with. Drop Zone Commander, it's like you have all of these ships, but the mission you guys were playing was, no, the ships come in and drop off the guys into the building so that they can go and grab the objective. I'm like, that's cool. That's an interesting thing, Seems like the infantry in Drop Zone are a little bit, less annoying and or confusing than Flames of War.
It does borrow some of the infantry from Flames of War, but the thing I like is that certain troops are, like in Flames of War, everybody just fights and survives on threes, or fights on threes. This is like they actually have a survive, and like So my set of troops that went into the building against Ryan's were like these super elite guys, and they basically like wiped them out. But the thing was, is they couldn't wipe the bigger squad out because he had so many of them. So, like I think I was rolling on 3s and he was rolling on 4s, which made a huge difference, on a 6-sided dice.
Yeah, so I think Drop Zone is going to be an interesting game. Another interesting game for us to play. I think it's going to be cool. And I picked up the Resistance. I got the the starter box. We all got basically the starter box for each faction. So I picked up Resistance, and I got the little one of the little bigger kind of boxes, and then I picked up the K9 Technicals, like blister box, and then I also got the convention exclusive dude, which unfortunately you guys couldn't get because they were sold out, but they had a couple left of the Resistance one. And then what other factions did you guys get?
Oh, I got the Scourge.
I got the Shaltari, and I picked up a blister of the Punjari, which are the elite troops, and I think it's called a Jaguar, which I think is I think it's like a tank.
I picked up the PHR. I got the little booster box that had like another few walkers, tanks, and some other looked almost like a tank / hovercraft skiff kind of thing. Then I got a blister of snipers, a unit called Valkyries, and a heavy Atlas Walker. Now that I think about it, I wanted to go back and get that big Scorpion, but I forgot.
Well, I just got the starter. I got the expansion with the whole Walker set, which I really like. And then what else? I got some troops, and I think that was it. I you know what? We were looking at the blisters, but like the blisters were a little pricey, and then the extra box we got actually was more cost effective.
Yeah, I was gonna grab. I saw the little box, and I was like, oh, I like those helicopters, and I saw the blister of the helicopter, so I'm like, all right, I'll get the blister and the dogs. So I wanted the dogs, and then I was like, wait a minute. I was like, at that point, I just might as well get the big box, which comes with the helicopters, which comes with that cool jet thing, and then like another carrier thing, and some other stuff.
I'm really glad you got it, because that you got one less helicopter, but you got that cool like Viper ship. It looks like the thing from the original Battlestar Galactica. That was definitely a good grab.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good idea. But yeah, I mean, Drop Zone Commander, we're hoping to get that going soon. I think with all these games at this point, I just want to put stuff together and then throw it on the table. I mean, just to get playing,
Well, I think with Drop Zone Commander, the cool thing is the four of us bought into it. We're all into it. And then I guess if we cover it on the channel, maybe we could bring it back to life, because I know Fabian remembers that like 10 years ago, it was all over the place, and then all of a sudden just dropped off the map. So maybe we get this going.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I remember that, like, I think it was that first Adepticon or something. It was there, and we didn't demo it, and I think Fabian demoed it, and then, we just never demoed it until 10 years later. I remember it was like crowded, and it was like a whole thing, but I'm kind of excited to maybe get into it.
Yeah, it looks like a good game. I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, so we're gonna take a quick little break. We'll hear a word from our sponsor, and then we'll be right back to talking about more games. Do you need terrain? Do you have a 3D printer? Well, look no further than CorvusGamesTerrain.com, who is sponsoring this episode. They have plenty of STL files for all different kinds of genres, like modern, sci-fi, fantasy, and much, much more. So go to corvusgamesterrain.com and use code FOGPodcast15 for 15% off your next order. That's FOGPodcast15 for 15% off your next order. The link will be in the description.
All right, welcome back, guys. Just moving down the list. The next game we're going to talk about is a personal favorite. It was a purchase of passion for me. We're talking about Baron's War. So basically, Baron's War is set during the First Baronial Wars in England. So basically, King John, so many of you know him for signing the Magna Carta, uh, he's going up against the barons who are trying to kind of kick him out of power, take power from the king, and they basically enlist the help of one of the French princes to do that. So the game is basically just history wise is surrounded around that. I'm a big history buff, so I was immediately bought in. So Coach introduced me to Andy Hobday. He's the game creator and the rules writer for Baron's War. He's also the creator of Test of Honor and Mortal Gods. So I know that the FOG crew loves both of those games. I haven't played much of it, but what I've played of Test of Honor I really like, and really looking to get into Mortal Gods. But I was just like, this is a good time period for me. This is a good location. The models were neat, and we have a copy of the rule book. So I was like, I just feel like I have to be in on this. Um, Coach, Andy a little bit better. I don't know if you want to go into how he kind of wandered over to the booth and made the purchase.
Well, what happened was, and just for Test of Honor, him and Graham, they co-wrote it together. But what happens is, I remember that Andy Hobday said that he was going to Adepticon in a post, a few months ago. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, yeah, I wonder if he's here. Wonder if he's here. And then I saw that he posted on Facebook something like, the second best ticket in town, and he took a picture of something in Chicago. I'm like, oh, this guy's here. So I'm like, I wonder where. I says, I want to go into the Badger aisle, and I wanted to go into there to see what they have in there. And I'm like, there's all this historical stuff. It says, let me send them a message. So I messaged them. I was like, hey, are you at Adepticon? And I turn around, he's standing there. So I just, introduced myself and this and that. I introduced, Andrew, because we've done a bunch of videos for him. And then I said, you should speak to my nephew because he's a big history buff. Then they started talking, and it was like, about everything you said, about King John and the whole 9 yards. And it's a game based on that. So he grabbed Ryan by the hand and brought him over to the thing, and then we started making retinues. So it was pretty good. And then True Gentleman sent us the rule book, a PDF version of it, and then we're gonna start making videos for that, for Mortal Gods, and they're coming out with a new game. He's gonna send me some files to print up to make the board look authentic. So he's like a real gentleman. I like, we've talked to him. I've talked to him a bunch of times over Facebook and also, Google when we interviewed him and whatnot. But he's a really good dude, right, Ryan? I mean, he's just a gentleman, a real good gentleman.
Yeah, I think he mentioned it when we were talking. It's like it's not just like for him. It's like I feel like history is a passion, and he's putting that into the games. One, I think like just from speaking to you, I think you guys love Test of Honor. You guys absolutely love Test of Honor. You love the rules to it. So I like the idea that this guy can write rules. He's a really awesome dude, very nice guy who, obviously he didn't have to send us the PDF of the rule book, but did. And just a wealth of history knowledge. Like the guy was like, I was asking him about book recommendations. He's like, I got a library at home. So, I mean, for me, he set the bar really high for this game. I'm so excited to play it. I think everything around it is cool. We basically, the way it worked is you don't really buy like a starter set. You kind of just pick what you want blister pack wise to build a retinue or to build your army and, making retinues and stuff like that. But it probably comes out like price wise to the same amount as if you were going to get a starter set. And then obviously we have the rules already. So Yeah, it was just awesome. I remember when we were sitting down probably to eat, and it was just like, ah, crap! I grabbed the longbowman. I want to play the French have crossbowmen. Ran back. Andy wasn't there. I was like, okay, I need to get these two crossbowmen blister packs. So yeah, I'm on. I think out of all the games, it's probably the one I'm most excited to get started, get painted, and then get playing.
Yeah, it's I think it's going to be something cool, something completely different, and this will be between Test of Honor, Mortal Gods, and Baron's Wars. It might be the start of Family Gamers historical games, which is something. I mean, for me, the passion was really the samurai, but then again, Medieval Knights kind of scratches. I'd say Samurai first, Medieval Knights second, as far as my favorite. Going back in time, and like I always said, I was born 400 years too late. I should have some sword strapped to my hilt in some country somewhere. But yeah, I'm very excited. And the funny part was, Andrew was he's like, yeah, my dad's up to page 40 in the rule book, and then he was talking to you for something, and he turns back to me. He's like, "How are you on page 100 of the rule book?" See, I'm almost done. So it's not that hard to do. I am taking Falks the Brute, who was a bastard, and he was terrible, and he was horrible, and he is an oppressor. So therefore, me and him would probably get along. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
oh, you want to go? You go,
yeah.
Ryan.
I'm taking Louis the Prince Louis the Capetian, who's the usurper.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that time period and that stuff, as much as like samurai stuff or Mortal Gods era stuff. But yeah, so I was like, oh yeah, the models look cool. It's Andy Hobday who co-created Test of Honor, and it created Mortal Gods as well. So, which are two games that we all enjoyed. So I'm like, yeah, why not? I personally didn't pick up anything specific, but I know Fabian, you had an interesting encounter there. What the hell happened, Fabian?
Well, I went strolling in, having no intention of buying anything. However, I knew the time frame in which the game was set occurred during a time where one of my favorite parts of history occurred, which were the Crusades. Excuse me. So I made the silly question. I asked, by any chance, do you have Templars? And that's where Andy just turned to me and said, do I have Templars? And a few moments later, I walked out of there with a large handful, I think it was 8 to 10 blisters of Templars to have my own retinue, plus the rule book because it's a separate rule book from the Barons War, but they are compatible. So the Templars will be rampaging through the FOG battlefield at some point as well, joining you gentlemen.
That's honestly, that's a Phasia story if I've ever heard one.
It's FOG historicals.
Hell
I'll tell
yeah.
you what. I'll tell you what. I can't wait for the Templars to come, and Falks de Brute will kill you with a garden scythe because he did that when somebody questioned his legitimacy and his birthright. So, um, yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be good. You know what? And from talking to Andy about it, it's brutal. Like things die left and right. So it looks like I think it's going to be where um, there might be one or two guys on the field of battle left, and but and the missions are pretty cool. Everything's pretty. I got to tell you though, Andrew, you were looking at the book, so you can chime in. The rule book is gorgeous, and the artwork is fantastic. But as far as him writing rules, it's one of the most complete rule sets that are out. Like he's covered everything: where to put terrain, where to do this, where to do, and he just kept putting it on. So it's like a 150-page rule book, but it's very like there's no question. I don't think there's even need for an FAQ. So I'm very excited about this game.
Fabian, I think you got to watch out too. I don't think even the piece of the true cross can save your rolls.
Yeah, that's the only thing I find that will be a problem. But as what happened then will happen with me, we will die and fade into the annals of history, never to be heard from again.
The Knights of Fabian.
The Knights of Fabian. That it just kind of got dark there. But anyway, yeah, like I said, for me, didn't really, didn't purchase anything for Baron's War personally, but, of course, I'm excited to try it out, and Coach and Ryan, you both started looking at the rule book. Coach, you said, he's kind of got everything covered in there, which is nice. And Ryan, I know you were reading the book. Is there, how does it seem for you? You think?
I unfortunately went on the plane ride home. I had like the worst earache ever, and you could attest to this. I was just like, while Coach was like flying through the book, I was just holding my ear, just holding my head. So I have to take like a deeper look. But from what I've seen, I think it's just firstly, I think that Andy's so like there is no room for question with the rules. Like he makes everything makes everything clear. I think that I think like the retinue dynamic is really interesting, and I'm really interested to see like when we get playing and units start dying, people that get broken, people that are in retreat, and everything like that. That they're it's also a tokens based game, so I think just coming to that and seeing how that plays out, he from what you guys say, Mortal Gods is awesome. Test of Honor I've played and I've liked it, and you guys love it, so I really see no reason why I'm not gonna have anything but good things to say about this. So.
And you know what I like about it too? It's like, all right, well, I'm just going to take an elite group of mounted knights and some knights on foot, but you can't because you have to take some green and inexperienced guys who kind of, you know, really suck. And because the recreation, it was like this baron has beef with another baron, so we're going to go to war. And he's like, okay, well, this baron has a whole mounted knight patrol, and the other baron, who's not as wealthy, just has maybe some crossbowmen and a bunch of peasants. Like, hey, we got to go fight, and they have like pitchforks and garden hose and stuff. So, it recreates that pretty well. I think it's
Yeah, it's what you see is what you get.
yeah, it's very interesting. And what's nice about it too is I have a lot of knight models that as any war gamer can attest to, that you have stuff lying around. Now I could start to maybe paint it and put it into a retinue.
That was an awkward pause.
So there. That was a dramatic pause.
Yeah, for exactly. All right, but yeah, I mean, Baron's War, get hyped. But I think the next game is another game that everybody's kind of hyped about. Bushido. Who wants to take the reins on that for Bushido? Talking about that.
I think Fabian should, because I feel like we've been in his ear about it the whole from last year.
Yeah, that's a game that visually looked cool to me. I never got to demo it last year. You guys each bought. Oh no, Andrew did not, but Ryan bought one faction because the one he originally wanted was out of stock. Coach bought a faction, and they kept talking about it. I don't know if you guys actually played a game the whole year, but we came to Adepticon this year, and Ryan got the faction he wanted from last year, since now it was in stock. Andrew actually bought a faction. Did you demo it, Andrew?
I did demo it. Yeah, it was me and I think just the guy, and then Coach and Ryan just watched. No, I don't remember.
It was me and you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I did end up demoing it, yes, okay. And then eventually you did.
So then you came over that you had bought in. Ryan had gotten his faction that he wanted from the beginning. I don't remember, Coach, if you bought anything at that point
Uh,
new this
my
year.
my Minimoto is the clan of the bear, and they have two bears, and they didn't have them. But I did buy a few blisters just to kind of flesh out the faction a little bit more. So I didn't buy anything new per se as a faction. I didn't get a new box because I just want to play. I want to play the guys I want to play, so I bought a few blisters.
Okay, so then again, due to how I felt on because of Friday, which I don't wish to discuss, I was all in to just spend money to feel good about something after Friday. And you guys had all bought stuff for Bushido, so I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm buying into Bushido too. I asked the guy I saw two factions that looked appealing to me, one of which has zombies, which I love. So I bought into the Cult of Uri. I bought the starter. I bought the themed starter. That was Saturday. Then went back yesterday, actually demoed the game. I really liked it. So then I went and I bought like 5 blisters to add more variety to the faction. And I'm okay with the purchase. It seemed a lot of fun. I love the visuals of it. I love all of that. So it was just and it's not just like samurais. It also has some mystical stuff, fantasy elements to it. So it's a little of everything. So that was just up my alley and I'm in.
Yeah, and I think too, like the mechanics of it are just. I think it just plays well. So it's played on a 2x2. Everything refers to a wound table. So essentially, you're rolling when there's an action going on. You're fighting. So it's not just like you're rolling. You roll your defensive rolls. You're fighting. You can allocate whatever dice your character has. Let's say they have 4. You could do 2 to defense, 2 to offense, basically. And the way it works is, I believe it's canceling out, and then it's high as far as attacks go. It's the highest dice wins, and then everything else you need to hit, gets added to that +1 up to 3. So like if I roll an 8, I need a 6 to hit, and I roll a 7. It would be 9. If Coach, correct me
Well,
if I'm wrong there.
no, it's what happens is it's not that it's when you roll, you see if you're gonna create a wound. So your first the highest number you get is your first number, and then every other you get 2 dice over that. So let's say the highest you can get is an 8 rolling. So if you roll a 6 and then you have like say 2 4s, that would be 6 7 8, and it goes on the chart. Then you roll a 2d6. But then also if the other guy can do the same thing and he can whatever the difference is in the defense. So if I roll, let's say, an 8, but you roll a 6 on the chart, I'm only looking at 2. And then when I roll my 2d6, doesn't matter what, because I rolled that 2 difference, that's where it comes in and use the chart. I was very happy that me and we did the demo, and I think it was Andrew and Ryan, and I was asking questions, and then Fabian did the demo, and now I got it down. Now it makes sense. And I'll tell you, the Bushido app is basically, we don't have to buy a rule book. It's all there and it's right at your fingertips. So I'm looking forward to this. Test of Honor is like I said, my favorite game, but this is a little bit more with the mystical side of the Japanese lore and their mythos of their culture, and they kind of expanded on that. But yeah, it looks good. The dice mechanic is cool. I finally figured it out, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good when I played it, and doing the demo. I thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was pretty fun. So I ended up picking up the goblins, of course, because I asked about the goblins. I was like, "There's goblins, right?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, there's goblins." I'm like, "Well, what do they do?" And he's like, "Oh, well, they kind of hoard the board, and there's a bunch of them, and then when they die, more come back." I was like, "Bet, I'm taking goblins." And then I got like the faction dice, and then I also got the what was it? The guy with the drum, or the two goblins on the drum, and then the goblin on the horn. I forgot what they're called, but I got two little blister dudes in there, so just to add a little bit more to it, you know. You guys picked up, you know, Bushido last year.
Don't forget what else you got, because you were kind of on a tear this year, and you made a bunch of different purchases for custom dice.
Well, yeah, like I said, I got the faction dice, and MCP dice, but you know that's neither here nor there. We're not talking about MCP. But yeah, no, I got those too, and then yeah, I mean, you know, I liked it. Another game that needs to go to the table definitely. I'm kind of excited. It really doesn't seem complicated, and it's on a small board. It's a small skirmish game. It seems like it's pretty quick too. So, you know, another pretty cool game that I'm excited for.
Yeah, and so I got it wrong. It's a D6 based game. We've been rolling so much, and it's been different. So I'm a little out of it, to be honest. But yeah, I bought the Dissension when I went first year, and I wanted. Firstly, the Dissension are like the birds or Tengu, but I wanted the Inari's Judgment, which are the foxes, but they did not have it last year when we went. I think it just wasn't out yet. I found out that they had it. It was my first purchase of Adepticon. I was like, oh, okay, I need this. And then we came back later, and I just picked up basically every blister they had for the Dissension. So, I mean, we're really rocking with stuff, and I got dice as well.
Yeah, I think we all kind of went all out with most of the games that are on this list, which might be a little different for this next game, which is the last game we're going to talk about here. We're talking about Ravage Star. So who wants to talk about Ravage Star here?
I will say that we got there on Wednesday night, got our badges. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we wanted to do a Ravage Star demo, and we were nowhere even close. There were a billion people there, and we couldn't get in. And it wasn't until Sunday that we were going to do it. And then you guys went over and said to do it. And then I went over to the raffle, which they called my name and they said my email, but the guy's name was like Andrew O'Grady, and he wasn't there. I should have lied and just said it was me to walked off because they didn't even check it, but you know, whatever. So I digress. But then you guys started doing the demo, and I'll let you take it from there because I came later.
Yeah, me and Fabian started doing the demo. Mini Wargaming Matt was there, and Dave, but Matt gave us the demo, and me and Fabian kind of started playing. I was playing the Gorkog, and then you were playing, Phasia, the Imari, I think they're called. The
Imari
dwarves.
or Eldari or something?
Yeah, those are the Space Marine-esque dwarf guys. And they only have the three factions so far: the Gorkog, the Imari, and then the Veil Touched, yes, which are like the kind of the bad chaos dudes. So, you know, we demoed it, and then Coach, you eventually came over, and then Matt was so kind enough to let us do another round, but instead it was Coach and Ryan at the helm, and then that round ended, and then he was like, I want to see how this plays out. So then you guys played a third round, and that was cool. So you basically played a whole game, which was cool to do. It was a small thing, like it was like what, 3 units each or something, but it kind of got the basics of the game there. So that I think was cool.
I think the simple fact that halfway through the second turn that Ryan was playing, when they started round 2, Ryan turned to me and said, could you see if they have the starter with the 2 tanks in it? Like, he was in. So that was kind of how we all felt, I feel. We played it, and it was like, it's quick. It was easy to pick up. The models look beautiful. but we could just for now use models we have from all the years of playing 40K. And it was the simple things about it, like the alternate activations, the slight
Well,
abilities that you could surge.
it's not the alternate activation. Technically, it's a blind draw from a bag. So pulling out tokens
Right.
from the bag, similar to like Test of Honor Mortal Gods, but it works. And I like the fact that if you go two times in a row, your opponent has to go next. So that's actually a very smart mechanic.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely keeps it from becoming too much of an alpha strike if you keep pulling the same color. So yeah, no, there was not much that I didn't find anything to dislike about it. I really enjoyed it, and I was like, this is what I've been wanting from all the years we played any mass battle game. I was like, this is what we've been wanting, and now it's here, and I'm like, I'm willing to buy in on this, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and I think what was really cool was when I was watching the first game, so I was just following along. So when I stepped in for Fabian, we just immediately started talking strategy, and I think Matt saw that, and I think as someone who wrote the rules for the game with Dave, I guess Matt and Dave wrote the rules for the game. Just like he was like, oh, this is great, you know what I mean? And I think that reflected. He was like, we just play one round usually, but like let's finish this out. Um, no, it was great, and Coach knows this. I've been talking about like there's always we haven't played 40K, at least myself, it like for about a decade in all honesty, and there's always this draw to go back, and I just immediately while I was playing I was like this could be it. So we basically played like imagine like we played like it was like kind of a skirmish with the three, excuse me, like the three groups of guys, but I can imagine playing this with like that times four, you know what I mean, or maybe even times five, just the scope and size of the table, and just so much, just easier than what I remember 40K being. So I was, like Fabian said, I was just like, oh, go over there and grab the starter box. So yeah,
And
it was great.
it wasn't, it's not even like they only had the veil touched starter boxes, and so me and Ryan split the war pack box, and then Matt was cool. He threw in the Heralds of Strack character leader box, dude. That comes with the like the dude, and then like two like acolyte guys or whatever, which was cool. So there was some other stuff there that I was like, oh my god, these are so cool. Like that one monster with like the tendrils coming off, the guy on all fours. Then those like Terminator S guys, but they're huge and they have like a horn on the friggin' head. It's really cool. I almost bought them, but I was like, I'm gonna hold off. And we asked Matt. I was like, can we just buy the War Pack box and just split it down the middle and then just play Veil Touched versus Veil Touched and then just see what happens? He's like, oh yeah, you could totally do that. I'm like, bet. And then there was that one guy who was like, it's like, oh, it's the last one left. And then me and Ryan were like, we gotta get it, go go go, like we gotta grab it. So that was cool. But yeah, I mean, in the next coming weeks or so, we'll have an unboxing on that box. So stay tuned for that over on YouTube. You can check that out hopefully soon. But yeah, I mean, really good, really really good. I had a lot of time, good fun. I had a really good time with it. Dice, tokens, and cards. It scratches those three itches for me. I
But
I like
the
it.
thing is that we've all wanted to go and play 40K. All right, we all started playing 40K. We wanted to play 40K, but there was no real game out. And then we stopped playing 40K for the bloated reasons, and also, it's just so freaking expensive to do this. And we could probably still keep playing 40K with the stuff we have without buying anything new, but that's not fun. This this is Ryan and I have been talking about this forever, about that, and Ryan kept just saying, let's just play 40K, let's just do it, and then I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But this is a way for us to play a mass battle game with something that we like, and we don't mind. I don't think we'll mind purchasing the stuff because it's really as it's pricey, but it's cost effective compared to it. And we Andrew and I figured it out when we did the unboxing, and it's about $2 a model, which is unbelievable for the whole set. So you know, and then I would say jump in on that game found thing, which is what we are going to do.
Which we have to discuss after we're done recording the podcast. But yeah, I mean, Ravage Star, I'm very excited to do that. And their Discord server and everything has the Google Doc of the rules, and then also like the stats for everything. So I'm gonna go through there and like kind of figure out what we got, and then print out the stats for them. Everything's in beta, so it's all like in a Google Doc sheet and everything. So, but still, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
And if we start trying it, we can make comments about the rules on the Discord, which is kind of cool because they're taking our thoughts on the matter into account for the rules going forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's cool what they're doing. Originally it being almost proxy kind of models for chaos, and then it's like, oh, let's make a game, and then you got the Gorkog, which are really cool. Those bug dudes are friggin' sweet. And then looking on the game found all those like other ones that weren't even at Adepticon scene, like there's some really cool stuff in there. And then those space dwarves, like those, I really like them. I really like all three of the factions that are there that they have so far.
And I have to say, I think this just like I don't think this has been mentioned, but we all love the hobby. I know Andrew, you're not the biggest painter, but like I think for Coach and I, like there isn't like especially Coach. I mean, I like painting. We like painting. We like playing. I think the worst thing, and I don't even consider this a part of the hobby really, is putting together models. All the Ravage Star stuff comes put together, and it's not like it's printed like that. It's pre-glued, which is it's just a draw for me. That it's just like okay, we could play Gray, and we don't have to worry about any assembly when it comes to painting. It's like okay, if you want to play now, we can play. If you want to just start painting, we could start painting. So, um, yeah, I was like, oh, that's unbelievable. So, I
Yeah,
remember
just
the days of gluing your fingers together are over.
well, actually, if anybody's interested, I'm up to tank number 5 since we started the podcast. But
At
as
this
far as
rate,
putting
at this
together,
rate, we'll play Clash of Steel tonight.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's a big thing too. Like the one piece models. That's I've been getting very very spoiled printing, where like the most things are maybe 2 or 3 pieces putting them together. But yeah, the one piece model is a big deal. And I got to tell you, Andrew sent me all the stats for the game, and I'm a dwarf guy. I really I like to look at the chaos. It's just not me. So it's either the dwarves or the bugs, and I'm going back for, oh, maybe I should do both, maybe I should do this, but for now, and I know Fabian's going to do the dwarfs, but reading through the rules, and like the bugs are so vicious, and like they have some really cool aspects to it, I'm like, all right, yeah, I think I made the right choice. So for me not to get dwarves, it means that the other faction for me is really striking a chord, because me, I always gravitate towards the dwarf. I mean, look, Firefight, Dead Zone, and Kings of War. I all have dwarf army in each one of them.
And Armada.
Yes, and Armada also.
Always playing those damn dwarves. But that being said, those are the 6 games that we all kind of picked up at Adepticon, which was crazy to think. Like, we were buying this, and then I got home and I was like, I made a list. I was like, okay, what games did we buy? We bought 6 games. I was like, holy crap! I was like, like I said, probably the most successful Adepticon, and I think also the best Adepticon. Like we said in the beginning of the episode, I think this was definitely a good one. But that being said, is there anything else? What's up?
Yeah, what else? I mean, we bought a few things. I know myself, I got some custom dice, 6-sided dice, because we just bought 3 games that use 6-sided dice. And then I actually got, which I wanted to try, and it's nice because when you go to Adepticon, you can actually look at stuff being used. I got the Pro Acrylic Pro Acrylic paint set, expansion set 2, with the transparent paints in it, which when I was talking with them goes through the airbrush pretty good. So I'm very happy about that. That we got that. Also in the swag bag, me and Fabian got a few things like it was a pretty good swag bag. I mean, like, we know we got Clash of Steel, but don't forget we both got Fear and the Dead Men, which was for Shatterpoint, Lord Vader and his stormtroopers. So, there's just a lot of other stuff. So, is there anything else that I know you guys picked up some stuff and maybe mention that? Like, Fabian, what else did you pick up?
Well, I got also in the swag bag. I got the Professor X and Shadow King from Crisis Protocol, and I really wanted the Nightcrawler Bishop pack and the Iceman Kitty Pride pack. So of course, you talk to people on Facebook. I was able to get the two of them for $40 combined, buying them. So I was happy about that. I bought dice that I can use for Bushido, for my Templar dice for Baron's War, and I bought some themed Crisis Protocol dice for William for Venom because he likes Venom, and then I bought Magneto for Brotherhood and Thanos for Black Order, and I ordered the speed metallic paints from Army Painter, which I know you did as well, Coach.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but yeah,
And
I, and those guys were really cool, man. The Army Painter guys, we
right,
met Bo and we met Alex, and oh man, it was awesome just hanging out with those guys.
yeah. And then I bought a set of 6 fantasy models that were X-Men themed. So you had like Colossus and Professor X, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, and they just look like a D&D party. And I was like, those look so cool. I could use those for like Zombicide, or if I ever did a D&D fantasy, I could use them for my character. So that was cool. That's really all I can think about that I bought.
Yeah, I also picked up 2 sets of uh, Christ Protocol dice from Baron of Dice that was there. I got a set for Web Warriors and a set for Spider Foes. So one of them had, obviously Web Warriors had a spider on it on the crit, and then the Spider Foes had, I think it was Green Goblin's like face or whatever on the crit. So that was cool.
I think I just got Dissension dice, and I'm just trying to think what else. I mean, I got decals for the Baron's War stuff. I got the Dissension dice and a lot of pretzels from the convention stand.
That might be one of the highlights of Adepticon is getting those damn pretzels, and those chicken figures were a good call too. I thought those chicken figures weren't bad.
Yeah, I feel like if there was ever like someone was talking and it was just like we were standing there, we just like look at each other and be like, "You want to get a pretzel or something?" Or...
Yeah.
Shout out to Jamie for making the mules for us right before we left the hall that yesterday.
Yeah.
Big win, Jamie.
It was funny. We're standing over there. We're eating. Fabian walks away. He comes back. He's like, I ordered 4 mules. I was like, okay. Thanks, Phasia.
And
yeah,
I'm glad that I'm glad that Fabian actually got his effing mule finally.
It was about effing time.
I do feel like we're missing 2 things though. I feel like 1, we have to talk about the X1 tournament, and I think 2, and we can nix this if we don't want to do it, but I think there has to be some food recap here because I think the con had a slight food theme this year.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I think we're gonna have to skip out on the X-wing tournament. Unfortunately, it's a little too soon for Phasia to talk about, but we can definitely talk about the food.
Yeah, we'd go too long with the X-wing.
Yeah, but no, the food wise, Raising Cane's good on the surface. Aftermath was not. Like the food, I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10 ish. But then like the Aftermath was like a 3. And then What else did we have? We had Texas Roadhouse, which is always amazing. Then we had that. What was that place? The Ale House place. It's in the vlog. I forgot what it was called.
Stonewood?
Yeah, something like that. I think. I forgot.
No, that's what it was.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That was really good.
That place was awesome. That was.
Yeah.
It really was awesome, and Fabian came out dancing.
Yeah, Fabian had a good time there.
Fabian is not afraid to dance when people ask him to dance. I will be your dance monkey.
He was Mr. Rizzalicious.
Rizzalicious in the house. He was Boba Fetted.
Yeah, I have to say, just like every Ravage Star model gets the care and attention it deserves, I think every nacho at that last place did. It was the best nachos I think we've had as a group. Just like period. I don't know how many times we've had nachos, but like that was a standout nacho performance.
We have to go back next year. 100%.
We can't forget we also went to Illuminati's.
Yeah, of course. That's never we can never forget that. I mean, of course, the deep dish, amazing. Or what is it, a quiche or something? Whatever people consider
it's not,
it.
Don't say quiche. It's a quiche.
Quiche, whatever.
Or play, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, Illuminati's classic place. Have to always go there for deep dish. It's amazing. But yeah, I mean, if anybody else has anything to add,
I think we covered a lot.
I think that covers the whole trip.
Yeah.
It was, not just the purchases, but it was really good. Although me and Ryan did come, I don't know, about 7 seconds late, and we couldn't play in the Armada tournament. It actually worked out to our advantage because we had a really good time that day, and it freed us up to do a lot more stuff.
I didn't have a good time that day, but that's a story for another time.
That'll be a video on another day, Phasia. It's okay.
We're here for you. We'll talk it out.
Yeah. But that being said, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the FOG podcast. If you're watching this on Spotify or iTunes, let us know what you think. I think there should be like a thingy that pops up after you're done watching it or whatever. And then also, if you're watching on Spotify and iTunes, our link tree is in the description of the podcast. You can check that out. That'll bring you guys to our YouTube page, and where we pretty much post weekly on there. Had a whole lot of Adepticon content on there that we have posted, our vlogs and some extra stuff, and we have a lot of stuff that are going to be coming out this month that are just strictly, Adepticon games and whatnot. So stay tuned for that stuff, and then also, our link tree has our Patreon and our Discord server in there, and our social medias are in there as well. So you guys can check those out in the link tree. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below. Let us know what you think. If you went to Adepticon, did you pick up anything? Are you going next year? Is there anything you're excited for? Let us know down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys. But that's it, y'all. We'll see you in the next one.
Well, guys, unfortunately, this is the end. But don't worry, they will be back next month. And you can check out all the links in the description or show notes for more Andrew and Coach. See you next month.